Sure.
The funeral costs are covered. Travel expenses are covered. Celebration of life, other bills that may need to be paid. It's not just the funeral or cremation. There are a lot of other expenses that somebody's having to pay for.
Absolutely. I mean, a death triggers these kind of checklists that go off in the beneficiaries or the next of kin in our world, as we'll say, where they realize, okay, my mom's dead, and now we have all these other things that come along with that. And yes, we got to focus on taking care of and honoring our mother, but there's things like taxes for the house. There's things like, maybe lawn maintenance, all of these things that come
Or you're
along
going to
with
sell the house and you need to get it updated to
right.
sell it.
Right. So all of those things that you and I both know happen when, and that's where I just love being able to connect like this, to be able to spread that message that these things happen. They're completely avoidable. To have, funds available immediately when someone dies is critical. I mean, it's one of the most important, probably missed pieces, I say, in the planning of end of life, whether it's estate planning, financial planning, planning with the funeral home, because there are people that come into a funeral home, just plan, don't have any financial backing behind that plan, whether it's through BLP or another source.
They're just window shopping, kind of.
Right.
They're making their Christmas list.
Exactly. So they feel like when they go and get these arrangements complete, yes, maybe some of those emotional decisions are made, but they leave the financial piece out. So 100 times over, I've taken phone calls by family members where deaths occurred, and they said, my mom has everything figured out with you, John. And I have to be, I don't want to say the bearer of bad news on top of the already bad news that they've, received today that their mother's died. But I have to say, look, your mother prearranged some of the services that she wanted, but there are no funds behind that. So, and in their minds, they called the funeral home thinking that everything was taken care of financially through a plan like this. And the idea is that it hadn't been. So they're very much disappointed to feel like, okay, now we're going to have to come up with a plan in a 24-hour period.
Well, that's where all of a sudden everybody starts putting their hands in their pockets and staring at their shoes.
Exactly.
Nobody wants to raise their hand and go, John, I got this. I had a really good year at work. You know what? I want the points on my Amex. I got this. Don't worry about it, brother. I got this. That doesn't happen.
It doesn't. Unfortunately, I won't say unfortunately, because a lot of times I, as a realist, say, look, I wish your mom would have done this. We've had her sign off that she doesn't want to put any financial backing behind this. But, and I think, we were going to talk about expectations of funeral homes and that when they expect to be paid nowadays, right?
Well, let's go ahead and talk about that. By the way, one key point we were talking about, the beneficiary liquidity plan, it is portable and can be used at any crematory, any funeral home.
100%.
It's not pre-locked in, because a lot of people don't know where they're going to retire.
100%.
What state they might die. They may not know if they want to be buried in the family plot or cremated and shot off in fireworks. So it's just a matter of setting aside the money that can be used regardless of what the ultimate scenario becomes.
And these plans are warmly welcomed by funeral homes worldwide. Our underwriter, NGL, is nationally, worldly recognized as a preferred provider for funeral establishments. Warmly welcomed, and anywhere, anytime within 48 hours. I mean,
and why would you like it if a beneficiary walked in with a beneficiary liquidity plan as a funeral home owner? You're going to get paid.
Right. So that's always reassuring, right? And that families have a plan, and this plan being one of the, if not the best plan to work with as funeral homes look for funding vehicles. I mean, they know funeral service. It's a simple claim form. Money is deposited based on the amount of services that are provided. Again, the most simplest of cremations up to the most traditional of funerals. The idea being that efficiencies and speed of that process come into huge play, because again, most funeral homes, and rightfully so, should be paid for their services in a timely manner, just like everything else, right?